Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk all about curves and curved piecing, okay? So take a deep breath because it's not as scary as you think it is. For those of you who are new to curves, yes, it is a little awkward. It feels much different than piecing straight lines, but it's just a little different. It's not too scary. Okay, so first of all, I've cut out my curved pieces. I've got the inner curve, I've got my outer curve. When I cut my pieces, I just use the paper templates. So I just pin them down onto my fabric. If I can cut more than one at once, I may layer a couple different, like 2 or 3, at the most 3 layers of fabric. I wouldn't want to do more than that. I pin this down using a few pins all the way around the edges, and then I just use my scissors to cut these out. I know some people like to use, I've seen people using rotary cutters to do their curves. That's cool. I don't think I'm that accurate with a rotary cutter without a nice hard ruler right there beside me. So I just use scissors for these, okay? So I've cut out my pieces. And now I need to line up my 2 pieces because I need to get this to sew to this. And how do we get them to line up? So the first thing to do is to fold your curve in half. So straight sides together to find the center point of your curve. So all I do is pinch it, or I might use my ridiculously long Halloween nails to make a little fold. When you open this up, you'll have the center point of your curve. So you can see it right there. If you really want to, you could use some chalk to mark it, but I'm okay with just using that. You can also, I'm fine with just using a center curve, but on these bigger pieces, if you want to add another marker at your quarter point, I would fold the end to the center. I just heard the Biz lock himself in the bathroom, and now he's going to be stuck there because we're doing this video. I don't have time to be letting the dog in and out of the bathroom. Okay, so I've got 3 points. I've got a center one and then one right here as well. And then I'm going to take the outer curve and I'll do the same thing. So these edges, straight edges together. And I'm just pinching here. Now this is for the bigger curve. When you're doing the smaller ones, you might just want, I just would go for a center point, but this is because it's such a big piece. I'm going to do smaller ones. And I guess fold like this. Fold like this. I'm literally just giving them little pinches, and then I've got my points. Okay, so now the fun part. Pins. Pins are your friends, guys. Use pins when you're piecing. I need the right sides together. So even though it looks white, it's a tone-on-tone white print. And so I'm going to go right sides facing together. And I'll line up that center, that little center marking that I made. So they're going to go like this, away from each other. I know it looks weird, but that's the way it is. And where is it? I'll put a pin in, like this, okay? I'm going to put another pin in over here. Actually, I'm going to put a pin in where I marked my little fold against this fold. We're going to see if this helps, because usually I only use 3 pins, but maybe a few more pins also help. Oh my gosh. There is this point where Halloween nails are just a little too long for sewing, a little too fancy. Okay, there. And then line up again. See, I'm lining up this little fold that I made with the other little fold that I made. I'm going to pin that point. okay? And then the last one, last pin should go right here. Okay, so it should look something like this. And then we're just going to take our time when we put it through the machine. So ideally, you have a 1/4 inch foot on your machine, and it's got that little flange in the foot. Let's see if I can move this anyway so that you can see a little better. Okay, so that flange will help you because your fabric can butt up against the flange and it'll stop it. But we're just going to take our time. So get it into your machine, get your foot down. I pull my pins out as I sew. I don't like the idea of having pins going through my machine just in case that needle hits a pin. So I'm just going to start it off, pull the first pin out, and then what you'll be doing is just guiding and making sure that the top fabric, the edge of that outer curve, is lining up with the edge of the inner curve. And if it's not, stop and adjust. And I use my nails, again, that's when they come in handy, to sort of just push it forward. So I push it together, hold it in place. Stop again when I get to this pin, pull it out. Adjust again. Ta-da! Okay, take that out of my machine, clip off the extra thread. All right, so now you have something that looks like this. And again, it looks weird. It's all frilly and odd. Frilly and odd, but then you fold it open and look we have a nice curve here. Right? It's not that hard. I mean, it is awkward, but use your pins. Don't put too many pins in. Normally I use 3 on the larger ones. I used 5. And as far as ironing goes, I'm not a stickler I don't have major ironing rules. But here's what I think. So for me, it depends on where this piece is going to end up going. Because I am using white as my background fabric, if I fold the seam out towards the white, then I'm going to see my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Do I care? No. Some people might care. I don't care. So I may fold some of them out and some of them in, because if I start working on, when we work on those big circles that are in the heart, where it takes 4 of these 1/4 circle or 1/4 curves put together to make a circle, you may take some of them and iron the seam out on one, and then the one that's sitting beside it, you'll iron the seam the other way around, so towards the inner curve. So that way when you're putting the 2 of them together, you'll nest the seams. We'll get to that. Don't worry, we'll talk about that in future. All you really need to focus on right now is your curved piecing, okay? So take a breath, start pinning, start playing around with it. Work on the big ones first. And once you get these down, by the time you get to those orange peels, which have 2 outer curve bits, you're using the same technique. It's just by that point, you'll be a master at it, right? So yay, high five, guys. We did curves. Now let's get all the curves done. All right?